crap all over the floor. It's killing me.
Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Phony. And I am super sweaty because I just got done playing me some Orcs Must Die like for hours at a time. Telling you, we need to talk about this game, guys. Now, before we even get into the game itself, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of the way the one thing that is the biggest problem that I have with this game right now. There is no multiplayer. That is kind of a big deal to me. I mean, we look at games like Dungeon Defender, which is a game that you can play on your iPad, no less, multiplayer. The fact that there's no multiplayer in this game is the one thing that kills me. Then again, it's a $15 game. It's kind of difficult for me to argue. Now that being said, you make yourself some multiplayer DLC, some kind of patch or something, I could pay an extra $5 for it and play with my friends and do all this crazy stuff on Nightmare mode. Guess what? I'm throwing down some $5. And then I'm gonna give my friend $5 because he's poor, and then he's gonna throw down $5, and guess what? We're gonna slay thousands and thousands of orcs drunk. Because let's face it, that's really the only thing left that would make this game any more awesome than it already is. Vodka, bacon, camaraderie. Now this is the run-of-the-mill action tower defense game because there's so many of them out there. And you are a young war mage apprentice who has been promoted to war mage because your boss apparently slipped on some blood and cracked his head open and died. It's tragic. Now the basics of this game is stop the orcs from getting to the rift. That's it. Once they hit the rift, they cross over to the other side or something, lore, blah, 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 and then it's bad. Basically, you end up losing health, which is represented in the upper right corner by the little blue sparkly number. Now, also in the upper right corner is a map, and it will tell you exactly where the orcs are coming from. And pretty much in every single map, except for the first one, they will come from pretty much anywhere. And they don't just come from the doors. There are flying hellbats and things that come flying out from over the top of the fortress things through open windows and stuff like that. So you have to keep an eye out for those too. Now you're probably wondering, how am I gonna go about fighting off these waves upon waves of different orcs and other crazy things that come out of these doors? Well, you have traps, paladins, archers, artillery, all kinds of crazy things in your arsenal. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a moment to show you some of these things. First up is the tar pit, right? This one's pretty basic, doesn't really do anything. You just put it on the ground, things walk over it and they walk slow. Well, if I take this and I use it in conjunction with a giant pendulum and maybe this thing that kind of like punches things in the face with chainsaws, and then I have a giant ogre that's under my control because he stepped on some mushrooms and for some reason he's mind controlled now and he's gonna kill all of the other ogres, and then I have some barricades here just in case, you know, they try to get around, and if they do get around, then I have some paladins standing here so they kind of lay down some smack. And what am I doing? Nothing, because I built the perfect orc slaughtering Rube Goldberg machine. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't rely on your traps and you have to maybe kind of maneuver around and use your own melee or ranged, well, there's plenty of that to go around. You have a couple of different items that you have in your personal arsenal that you could use, and you pick up more along the way. There's the staff, the mage staff. This one's pretty basic. It's just melee. You run in there, swing it around, do all kinds of crazy damage. Looks really cool, like on camera, right? And then the right click will actually do like a knockback stun. Then there's the bow, which is something you will always have. It's kind of locked in that #1 position. And this one has 2 attacks again. There's the regular arrow. You can sit there and get headshots all day. You're like, yeah, what's up? I'm so good at this game. I'll go play some Call of Duty and own some facing in Call of Duty. You're like, wow, apparently the orcs have really huge heads because it's not happening here. There's also other magic effects that you unlock along the way that will allow you to control various elements. There's fire, allow you to put like a little firewall up so things will run through it, they'll catch on fire, and there'll be a dot on them and it'll eventually tick away and they'll die. Really useful against sappers because the sappers will more than likely ignite and explode before getting to your barricade. And these guys, they don't go for the rift. No, they will run around the entire map looking for your barricades to blow them up. So that way when the next wave of orcs and ogres and flying things and whatever come by, you are totally screwed. At the end of every match, you get awarded, which was basically stars, but in this case, there are skulls, and you get between 1 and 5 depending on how your performance was. And these skulls are used as currency, and the product is upgrades for your various traps. And it ranges anywhere from making a trap a little bit more efficient to making things a little bit cheaper. As you can see, I've not 5-starred everything on this list, and I am not happy about it. However, my goal was to get through and finish it, and that is it. I will now go back and complete probably everyone and 5-star them because I have access to all these cool tools. It makes it extremely easy to do this now. And then once I buffed everything up, I will switch over to Nightmare mode and try to get through there. When you first get into the map, you have the ability to run around and kind of survey everything, and you want to do that. You want to run around and you want to see, okay, I can put something here, I can put something here, and kind of plan out where you're going to put things and kind of how you're going to maneuver these orcs around and slaughter them. Then once you kind of figure out roughly what you want to do, you're going to go ahead and grab some of your different traps, some of your paladin, and maybe your ranged guys, some of your pendulum thing. There's all kinds of things that you could throw in there and use, but once you set it up, you cannot go back unless you restart the level. So choose wisely. Now, having completed all the levels on the normal difficulty, I can tell you that the two things that you absolutely want to have on you at all times is going to be the tar and the barricades. Those two things at all times. Now, the other thing you unlock later on in the game is access to these kind of like these skill tailoring talent trees, right? And there are 3 different ones. You get 2 at first, and then you have the 3rd one later. One of them is for traps and guardians, which will allow you to earn more money when traps kill things. Guardians can regen health, or the traps can reset themselves faster. Another one gives you more control over your own abilities. For example, allows you to use less mana whenever you're casting your spells. And the last one is kind of a weird mix, which is probably why it comes later on in the game, because it allows you to control everything from how fast you run to raising orcs from the dead and they'll fight for you. It's really weird. But it's up to you to figure out what works best for what level and to spend your money wisely. You could jump into a map and throw a whole bunch of archers all over the place and sit there and hope that they do all the work for you, or you could save your money a little bit and buy nothing but big stuff. Maybe work your way all the way down a talent tree, buff yourself out and run around and kill everything yourself, or you could just... Wow, my phone totally just did that right here. I did not even put that in there. I'm gonna leave that in there because that's hilarious. Now, since this game is called Orcs Must Die, I guess I should go ahead and tell you guys what kind of orcs you're gonna be encountering. Now, there are a lot. I'm not gonna show you every single one of them because there's literally there's just a ton. You're gonna see a lot of it in the gameplay footage that I've been showing you, and you can figure out the rest as you play, but I can just show you some of the basic ones. For example, there's the little guys, they're like kobolds, I guess, and they run right past you, and they're very small and hard to catch, and most traps actually miss them because of their small size and how quick they are. So you have to keep an eye out for those. Now, sometimes they come in the sapper form, which I showed you a little bit of video of that earlier. Those suck, so keep an eye out for those. There are the flying ones, which are the ones you want the archers for. There's the regular orcs that sometimes they have shields, sometimes they do not. They say really funny things, so have a listen to them. And then there are the hunters, and what the hunters do is they actually completely ignore the rift. Again, they're like the sappers. They don't care about the rift. They don't care about depleting the health of the rift itself. They want to kill you or your guards, and they can actually go over your barricades. That's the only reason I'm telling you this guy, because I will have barricades all over the place, sitting there chilling, letting my traps do all the work and just kind of relaxing, and then all of a sudden I'll be getting stabbed in the back and stunned, and I will die because I did not realize that these guys can jump barricades. So keep that in mind. And I guess the last one I'll show you guys is the one you guys have seen all over this thing so far, is the big ones, the big guys. These are the ones that come in different flavors. Sometimes they're armored, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're made of fire, sometimes made of ice. So you want to adjust the way you corral them accordingly to maximize your orc slaughtering efficiency.
All right, guys, so as you can see, bang for your buck, right? It's $15, so it's missing some major features, some weird things like that we could kind of attribute to the console port issues, right? For example, the remapping of keys and all that. But you can apparently do that in a config file, and I've also checked the forums, and the forums say that he is, or the guy himself, has actually gone on there and said that he's got a whole list of things he's gonna be changing. One of them, of course, was the windowed mode, which was not in there initially, and it made it almost impossible to stream, but now that has been resolved, and he's got a patch coming out for it. So he's actively in there doing the stuff. He sees that the game is probably taking off. I had a complete blast playing the game just through the medium range, whatever that was. Now I have to go through and finish on Nightmare, which will never happen because I don't finish games. I'm one of those guys that just got to play a different game every week. Anyways, hit me up at aka Mike B on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and all that good stuff. Go to Zam.com for more stuff. And oh, real quick, there's the Game Breaker, WoW Insider, Zam, of course, party going on next week at BlizzCon, or is it this week? You can see this video. Next week at BlizzCon, so you guys are going to have to be there. So go there and show up. It's a party at the Annabella Hotel, okay? Maybe if I'm not lazy, I'll put up a graphic right here so you guys can check it out. But go to, where can you find the information? GameBreaker.tv, and scroll around there and you'll be able to find the information for the party. I'm gonna be there. We're gonna be live streaming the event, and if all goes according to plan, we're all gonna have a blast, and someone's gonna end up in the pool. It's not gonna be this guy, because I'm gonna have a brand new iPhone in my pockets, and it's gonna be awesome. And now that I said that, it's gonna get stolen. So whoever gets my phone, hope you enjoy it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.